today on Divorce Court.
I'm at divorce court because I feel like my husband is a misogynist and he doesn't respect my opinion. And I'm independent. I want to go out. I want to have an education. I want to have a paying job.
I don't understand why she would think that. I support her going to another state and going to school.
His family always mistreats me. They say terrible things about me.
My family doesn't trust Rosalicia because they feel that she's doing things that aren't quite to their standards.
He wants me to sit at home. He wants me to watch my daughter. He wants me to clean the house. And I'm not that kind of person.
There has been instances where she would stay overnight at a male friend's house. I don't know what exactly happened.
Right now, I don't think me and Flint will really work out just because we always bump heads. I'm independent, and he just doesn't appreciate that.
Divorce Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lynn Toller presiding.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here today with Rosalicia Harris and Flint Kastner. The two of you have been together for 5 years, married for 4 years. You are in a bit of a problem now. You have one child together. Ms. Harris, I'm going to start with you. Why don't you tell me a little bit about your marriage and why we're here today?
Well, when me and Flint first got together, I was kind of in a tough spot originally. I had just joined the military and just got to my base. And they basically had told me after 4 months at my base that, you know, I'm gonna get deployed, which is kind of hard because it's not enough time for me to learn my job. So a couple of months before I had got deployed, I had invited a friend over, and he had come over later on that night, and we were watching movies, and then he kind of got to the point where he started touching me inappropriately. And at that point, I kind of blacked out. I don't necessarily remember what happened at that point. And I had woken up to him raping me, to which, again, I had blacked out. And I had come to later on, basically staring at my wall. I had walked into my bathroom, cried for a long time, finally summed up the courage, you know, tell him to leave. And afterwards, I had told a friend of mine who kind of blew it off and made it seem like it wasn't a big deal, which really hurt. And when I had gotten deployed, when I started talking to Flint, and I had come back, and, you know, it was really hard for me staying in my dorm room because that's where it had happened at. And he allowed me to basically come stay with him. And we became really close. We pretty much became like best friends. And, you know, years later, I had the incident come up again, and my higher-ups had found out about it. And I had one of my higher-ups basically come up to me and tell me, get over it. It's not that big of a deal. And at that point, I had felt like, you know, I don't have people there for me. I was alone. I felt like I couldn't tell anybody anything because this wasn't the first time this was told to me over one of these incidents. It was probably about the fourth. But, you know, Flint, he stayed by me.
The fourth time somebody told you, get over it?
Yes.
I'm so sorry that happened to you. And I'm so sorry that everybody in charge, in authority, and around you didn't surround you and support you. I am so sorry about that. I appreciate the strength you show in being able to tell that story. You never know who you're going to help just by saying that, so thank you for that. I assume that the first part of that story you agree with. That's pretty much how it went?
Yep.
How you met and you were a safe harbor for her when she had such difficulty, and then you fell in love?
I actually had no idea what was going on in her life at the time. I was just, you know, I needed a friend too, so, you know, and Rosalicia is and was a great friend.
Okay. So you say after you had your daughter and got married, he became a misogynist. Why? What did he do that made you believe that?
He basically, when we're having arguments, if a male is involved, he will almost always take that male's side. On multiple occasions in the past, it's been kind of like where common sense should kick in and tell him that, you know, yeah, I'm right, but he will agree with the male.
Give me an example where it was just really ridiculous for him to agree with the male as opposed to you.
Okay, so him and his family members decided they wanted to basically hang a pig in our garage because they were going to cut it up and everything, you know, the stuff they do in the country. And then the garage.
Yeah, I'm glad you cleared that up because I was like, hang a pig in the garage. I mean, what yeah. Ooh, so they were going to butcher it for...
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So they wanted to hang it in the garage on the rafters, but they had to keep it cold, and it wasn't that cold outside. So he decided he was going to take our window air conditioning unit and put it in the garage, which I had told him, you are aware that spits out more hot air than cold air. That's why the back goes out the window.
Right.
And one of his family members had told him, nah, it'll work. Let's do this. And I'm like, no, it's not going to work. I had even called my stepdad to ask him. He's like, that's not going to work. But he went and did it anyway. Come to find out, it didn't work.
Mr. Kastner, do you have anything to say about the pig in the garage?
It is a regular occurrence that my family butchers animals for meat. As far as the window air conditioning, that definitely didn't work. It was a gross oversight on my
Let me
side.
ask you this.
Sure.
Because I'm in a house with a husband, 6 sons, even got a male dog. Do you think maybe it's kind of like a dude thing? Like, dudes think they know about mechanics, and dudes, you know, well, I'm gonna do a computer, you know. I have conversations with my husband all the time. I think you should do that, but he does the doodly thing. It's not that he doesn't respect me, but he's a dude. I don't know. That wasn't very articulate. But you understand what I'm saying? It's not like it's not that he doesn't like me or doesn't respect me, but he's a dude. Do you know what I'm saying? They do you know you do stuff like that. You know, you're not going to take any advice from your woman on the car, even if she knows. You know how you people are. Do you think it might be that? Because this does not sound egregious to me. Doodliness and not misogyny. That's what I'm feeling right now. But we're going to leave that there for a while, because now that we're talking about family, I want to get to how you believe his family does not approve of you. What did that family member say?
Apparently they think I'm a party animal, I don't take care of my daughter, and I'm like, what are you saying to them to where they say that? Because I most certainly am not either of those things, and I take care of my daughter.
So, Ms. Harris, you say his family doesn't approve of you. Why don't you tell me why you believe that?
Well, when we first got married, he had told me that a couple of his family members didn't really approve of us getting married because I still hung out with one of my exes. And my family, we all still hang out with our exes because we kind of believe, you know, if you date him, you have a good relationship. That's a good friendship. If you have a good breakup, why drop the friendship? So, you know, a lot of my exes are still my friends. I've had exes I've been friends with for 10 years. And his family had a problem with that, and they basically kind of believed, you know, that's not going to work out. She's going to cheat on you. Whatever.
Are they not nice to you?
No.
Is your family not nice to her, and are they not nice to her for the reasons she just stated?
They're an interesting bunch. That's
a good statement.
We have a family dynamic of a lot of teasing and harassing. So that can get misconstrued as abuse and...
I don't think that's teasing.
Sometimes it does go too far, in which case I try to take that family member aside and let them know, hey, that's not okay.
Does he stand up for you when they come at you too hard?
I've had one of his family members come up to me and basically just straight disrespect me.
What did that family member say?
He basically had referred back to the fact that I constantly come back and forth from our house because it is our house. I have every right to be there. And basically, he was looking at it like I'm coming back and forth because we were still split up at the time, and I don't know whether I want to be there or don't want to be there. And I had no reason why I was coming back and forth. That was more for my daughter. But I was helping my daughter pack, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to bring these clothes or these clothes. And he basically looked at me and goes, yeah, you are a really decisive person. And I was just like, okay. And I looked at Flint, and I'm like, you're not going to say anything about that, are you?
But you were broken up, right?
We were separated.
We were separated time, and you came back. Listen, Ms. Harris, I think you are a lovely lady. I do. But I think you might interpret some of the things that are said to you as more demeaning and disrespectful than they are. If I had a son, and he had a woman who broke up with him, and she kept popping in and out, popping in and out, popping in and out, I don't care what for. I think I'd say something to her. Because he's my baby. And I don't know how he's feeling about it. He's probably telling me, he's probably telling her, I really love her and she's not staying. And if you think that somebody's hurting your baby, you say stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just feel like some of the stuff that They say it goes a little overhand. Like, I've had him tell me
He
that.
said they were an interesting bunch,
They
harassing,
are.
and you know, you can't pick your family. They're who they are. And you gotta go by what he does, not by what his family does. You know what I mean?
I try to, and I've told him that before. You know, my whole thing is, you know, with his family, just because of the way they are, and they're very closed-minded to most things. I've told him multiple times, you know, don't talk to your family specifically about some things that go on with us. They misconstrue it. And when me and him were going through our tough times, I don't know what he told his family, but he even told me, like, yeah, they don't like you. And I'm like, what in the world are you telling them? Apparently, they think I'm a party animal. I don't take care of my daughter. And I'm like, what are you saying to them to where they say that? Because I most certainly am not either of those things, and I take care of my daughter. She is my main priority in life.
Mr. Kastner, do you go running, telling tales to the family? Because people do that, you know, when you're in love and everything's fine, you don't say anything. But when you're upset, you say, she's doing this and doing that. Do you tell stories out of school?
When we were having problems, I didn't have anybody to talk to. I had friends here and there, but they weren't really that kind of friends. So I had to, you know, resort to talking to my family. In doing so, I may have said things that may have misconstrued their viewpoint, but I have never indicated that she was a bad mother or a party animal or anything like that.
Well, speaking of the daughter, my understanding is that you believe he's trying to keep your daughter away from your family. Do you want to look at her and tell her how you feel and what you want?
I love you, and I want you to come home.
How much information about your relationship is okay for your partner to share with family? Tell us what you think at Divorce Court. Ms. Harris, you say that you believe Mr. Kastner wants to keep your daughter away from your family. Tell me why you think that.
A lot of times when she wants to go visit my family members, he kind of puts a time limit on it. And it kind of confuses me because I'm like, well, for me, growing up, we always spent about a month with our family members. Because my family members are all over Southern California. It takes a while for her to see all
Visit
of them.
everybody,
yeah.
right.
So I always say, okay, about a month should be good. And he's like, no, I think 2 weeks. And I'm like, 2 weeks? Okay, well, that's not enough time for her. Like, they see her twice a year.
Mr. Kastner, do you want to limit the amount of time that your daughter spends with her family?
Her family, without Rosalicia there, yes. And in doing, because the first instance of our daughter going out to visit her family, it was my understanding that it was going to be for a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks, and then about 2 weeks into that time period, it went out to a couple more weeks, which led out to a couple more weeks, and about 2 months later, I finally got my daughter back.
Did you leave the daughter a couple of months with your family?
That was not me. That was my
Yeah. Well, how long?
She was supposed to be out there for about a month, and I was like, well, I don't have money to come get her right now. I was like,
How old was she?
She was about a little over a year at the time.
He got a point. I get his point.
Yeah.
I get his point. I'm going to do something that I normally don't do in a regular case like this. But, Mr. Kastner, you really love Ms. Harris.
Far more than I could ever articulate.
And you really want her to come back or to get back together. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to look at her and tell her how you feel and what you want?
I love you. I can't express how much that I love you. I want the best for you and our family. These months that you're at school and away, it kills me because you're so far away. And it's unfortunate that we don't talk nearly as much as we used to, but I attribute that to your schooling schedule. But I love you, and I want you to come home.
Thank you, Mr. Kastner. I'm just gonna leave that there. Let it soak in. What's the best way to make a long-distance marriage work? Share your opinion on Twitter and Instagram at Divorce Court. Divorce Court will be right back. Ms. Harris, I cannot in any way, shape, or form indicate that I have any understanding of what it feels like to have been through what you've been through. And I cannot sit here and tell you how you should feel or how you should behave because I absolutely have no right and no understanding, and I don't want to speak on stuff I don't know about. Having said that, I will say this. Trauma can be treated. And one of the worst things about trauma is once it's over, it's not over. And sometimes it stomps around in the middle of a beautiful future in a way that doesn't allow you to see it. I think Mr. Kastner loves you to the moon and back. I think it might be a time for you to, and I don't know how much you've dealt with the PTSD that you have, but I don't want you to lose a great guy because you can't see how much he loves you when you misinterpret small little things that are common amongst men and women for misogyny or for a lack of respect for you. You know, people have jacked up families, weird families, odd families, crazy family, and you can't tag him for that, and I don't see that he's done anything other than really, really love you and sometimes be a dumb dude. If you like men, you gotta learn to put up with a little of that. You know, I think you are a tremendous couple. I think you are wonderful people. I think you are a great woman. I think you are a fabulous man, and it is my hope that you at least allow yourself a space in your heart for the possibility that this guy's really a great dude, not a perfect dude, but a great dude who loves you very much. And I don't want you to miss out on that love because of the things that have happened to you in the past. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think you're fabulous. He thinks you're fabulous. And I think he's fabulous. Let's not all this fabulousness go to waste. My best of luck to the both of you. This matter is adjourned.
What was your reaction to hearing some of the words he said out there?
Hearing him actually put it in words, it kind of hurt a little bit just because of the way things are between us, but I feel like it helped as well.
Mm-hmm. You said your family's an odd bunch, but you think they'll come around and maybe show a little bit more respect for this young lady?
I'll see to it.
How?
Try to explain to them just how abrasive they can be.